But I would say if I had to rank them based on everything, for me, I'm going to throw LeBron at one because the longevity to do that for 20 years is unbelievable.
Yep.
No one's going to do that. So I would say LeBron, Jordan, Kobe for my time.
You're wrong. It's Michael Jordan. Just so you know, I'm just going to
I
throw
get it.
that
Yeah, I get it.
in. We are back for another loan officer, in this case, also manager spotlight. And I'm actually very sorry to say, Matt, that you and I were both on the President's Club cruise back in August. And those recordings had a much better backdrop. Here we are now sitting back in our offices.
Yep. Yeah.
But that's okay because it's going to have the same effectiveness, just not as cool of a backdrop. So with me today is a gentleman that I've gotten to know very well over the last probably 6 months, and is a top 10 producer at USA Mortgage that you may not know about. And I'm not going to hold this too far against him, but some of you will. He is based out of Columbus, Ohio, which makes him an Ohio State fan. Matt, welcome, my friend. I already told people where you're at, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got in the business, and all that kind of jazz?
Yeah. So thank you, Jeff. Pleasure to meet everybody who's going to be listening to this. But my name is Matt Shields. I'm the branch manager for USA Mortgage here in Columbus, Ohio. Born and raised a Buckeye. So from Columbus my whole life. I love it here. Uh, Getting into the business was something I never expected. My dad was a home inspector, so I always heard of realtors and inspections and mortgage guys. Never knew anything about it. I was bartending at Pinnacle Golf Club, where I do a yearly golf outing, big fundraiser charity outing. And one of my regulars was in the mortgage business. And I was at a time in my life where I was working full time, paying for school full time, and looking for something different to do. And the regular came in and he said, "Hey, I think you'd be great at mortgages. Do you know anything about it?" And I had no idea. And I said I was willing to give it a shot. And that was 11 years ago.
Wow.
And I quit the bartending job then, got into mortgages, and dropped out of school. I was a junior in college, and I was paying for it. And I'm like, man, I'm sick of working full time to pay for this. And I'm like, this is my shot at doing something different. And from day one on, I realized how big of a challenge it was. Of course, the money you can make in the process, but of course, then the people you can help.
Mm-hmm.
And it really just kind of hit home for me that I could help a lot of people and make a very good living. And every day is different. So it was kind of an addictive thing for me getting into it. One of the best decisions I've ever made.
So where were you in college, and what was your major? Like, what was your goal with your degree?
Yeah. So I was studying consumer family financial services. Um, Growing up, I grew up in a kind of a low, moderate income area. So just seeing the stuff that people went through, trying to find opportunities, trying to make money for their family, and just kind of seeing the hardships everyone had kind of always hit me at a certain spot to where what can I do to share information on how to get jobs, how to make money, put yourself in a better position. So getting into mortgages kind of scratched that itch of what I was studying in college. But I was a Buckeye. I went to Ohio State.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was. You know, when I do an application and they ask what college you did, I was kind of some college. You know, I didn't quite graduate, but I was there for a little bit. I was there for 3 years. Learned a lot of stuff while I was there. But I got to say, doing this job has taught me more about anything in a short period of time, about the world, how people operate, how the economy works, and I still learn something new
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. You mentioned your golf tournament. You mentioned your dad. I know that is a hard, emotional topic for you because your dad passed away of pancreatic cancer, and you host this golf tournament every year, which is really phenomenal. Um, you know, what would you say? Because that obviously had a big impact on your life, and I think it's a defining piece of who you are. And anybody who knows you fairly well, I myself included, knows this about you, knows that it's about the purple. It's about pancreatic cancer. It's about awareness. Exactly. You've got it on now. Um, you know, I know that obviously had a big impact in a terrible way on your life, but what would you say is something that you've taken from that and now has helped you kind of progress forward?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely tough subject, you know. But I would say it's nothing's promised, nothing's promised. We could, I could get sick tomorrow. You could get sick tomorrow. Car accident, you never know what could happen
Yeah.
to someone.
Yep.
So just really not taking life for granted, um, being present, enjoying the moment, being appreciative of people, just because you never know when the last time is. So just trying to, just looking at life differently of how short it is, how sweet it can be, and everything is just about loving on each other, making connections, being there, and just not taking any moment for granted.
Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway.
Love it, man. Love it. And now staying on the personal side of things, I kind of mentioned obviously one of the things that you're very passionate about every single year, which includes a golf tournament. So I'm going to guess that one of your hobbies is probably golf, but what is it? And me knowing I know you work a lot. You're a top 10 producer in the company. That requires a great deal of effort. Now, fortunately for you, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure which way you want to look at this. You don't have kids yet, but you are married. You
Yep.
do have pets, but what do you do in your free time?
Yeah. Huge sports fan. So kind of golf is more of a recent love of mine. I got into golf when COVID hit. I've growing up big into basketball, baseball, football, any sport, anything that's active and somewhat competitive. I mean, chess, anything it is. Like, I love any sport, watching sports, playing cornhole, a little bit of anything. But I'm huge into sports. Love spending time with my family and friends. That really helps me decompress. Luckily, I have family and friends who get my lifestyle now with work. So when I have to step away for a phone call, they kind of get it. But just some of my earliest memories are I'm a kid, I'm like 4 or 5 years old, and we're watching Michael Jordan on TV. So for me, like family time was always having sports on. We'd have a good meal, we're watching sports, and that's something that kind of always stuck with me. And I still kind of do the same thing to this day. My life kind of revolves around in the evening what sporting events on. Oh, we got hockey tonight, we got baseball tonight, and for me, it's always something to do. I love it, being in this business and numbers. I love the stats, keeping track of stats. And in my opinion, I think sports is one of the last real true dramas we have. Unscripted, things don't go as planned, the underdog story. Like to me, it's just so encompassing and entertaining. And for me, getting off work, having a beer, sitting back, watching Monday Night Football, I love it. I love it.
If all sports if sports went away tomorrow, but they could keep one professional sport, which one are you keeping?
Oh, that's tough. That's really tough, man. I'd say football. I
Okay.
love college. I love NFL. That was a tough toss up because I love NBA, but UFC is a big love of mine.
Mm.
I've done jujitsu for a little while. I've done kickboxing for a while, and I love UFC. And that's something that when football is not on or basketball is not on, I got UFC once a week.
Yeah.
So I do love UFC, but I got to say NFL and football would probably be my top one.
Last personal question, because you mentioned Michael Jordan. I see Kobe Bryant hanging behind you. Who's the greatest basketball player of all time?
Oh man, it's tough. It's tough, and I think it's I'm going to give a more of a politically correct answer here because in my lifetime, growing up, more LeBron James. I think I think it's something you have to ask everyone by generation because for me it was the kind of the passing the torch, from back in the day with Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell leading up to MJ. Because if you ask somebody back in the day, they're going to say it was Bill Russell than
Mhm.
MJ.
Yeah, or Oscar
Uh,
Robertson or something like that. Yep.
yeah, the Big O, So I would say for me the best career ever in terms of longevity would be LeBron. But for a short window, the best prime of someone's career with the 6 championships has to be Jordan. So I think Jordan has the best championship window of anyone ever. But for LeBron to do what he's doing for 20 years, all time leader in points, I think LeBron might have the best kind of total overall record. But then you got Kobe. I got the Kobe jersey in the
Mhm,
back. I love
mhm,
Kobe.
mhm.
It's hard. It's
Yep.
hard. But I would say if I had to rank them based on everything, for me, I'm going to throw LeBron at one because the longevity to do that for 20 years is unbelievable.
Yep.
No one's going to do that. So I would say LeBron, Jordan, Kobe for my
You're wrong. It's Michael Jordan. Just so you know, I'm just
time.
gonna
I
throw
get
that
it,
in.
man. I get it. I get it. I'm a little biased. I'm a diehard LeBron fan.
He's also from Ohio, so I guess that helps.
That helps me. Yeah,
Yep.
that helps
Yep.
me. And I was a kid when he started, man. And I remember I was in the sixth grade when LeBron got drafted. So I kind of grew up with LeBron. And for me, he's the last athlete that ties me to my childhood. Everyone else is retired now. They've moved on. They're in the sunset, Hall of Fame, whatever. But it's still cool for me to see that because it reminds me of being a kid and just kind of growing up.
Yeah. Yep. All right. It's been fun. We could talk about this stuff all day. You and I already have. Because I was even going to mention that you didn't mention that I would consider you kind of a foodie too, by the way.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I've come to
definitely.
visit, obviously I always eat really well.
Yeah.
But for the sake of time and because it's really more important, I think that you share, what makes you so successful. You've been in the business since you were 21 or 22 years old. And now here you are in your low 30s. You're a top producer in the company. And so, I mean, as a loan officer, I want to know, like, all right, how the hell did you get there? And so let's start with the most basic of question, which is like, what does a typical day look like for somebody who's producing at your level?
I do the same thing every day. And I've figured out what my perfect day is. And it is a mixture of prospecting with some file maintenance. So I try to get to the office around 8 to 8:30. I catch up on my emails, whatever hot project I have to do very quickly. So I try to catch up with some me time, my personal time, and I time block everything too. That was a
Nice.
big switch for my life. Was I'm so much more productive now time blocking than kind of flying off the seat of my pants, fielding whatever comes in. So for me at first, it's like my personal time. I need to get my head in the zone. I need to catch up on stuff. I need to feel like I'm ahead of the game, and I try to shoot a video. That's on my time block every day at 9:30. Thank you. Because I try to do like one day where I shoot four or five, and it's just too hard for me to.
Mhm.
So I try to do one a day. If I can shoot one video every day at 9:30, and then I start to get into my prospecting. So from 10 a.m. to noon, I'm prospecting. Um, Mondays, pipeline updates. I have my pipeline meeting with my team on Mondays. So I call buyer's agent, listing agent, and the buyer to let them know what's going on with the loan. Tuesday, I do my top 40 agents. So I try to go through that list, give them a call. Some people don't answer. I leave a voicemail. But I'm in very much a lot of contact with my agents every week anyway. I'm very good friends with them, and I'll kind of get into that. Wednesday for me, I do my VIPs, which could be a title rep, it could be financial advisor, my accountant. So anyone I know who has a business who refers me deals. There might not be a realtor, but they're a professional who they send me a lot of active leads. So I try to show them love on Wednesdays, midweek. Um, Thursday, it'll be a mixture of maybe some credit repair clients with some past clients. A big part of my business is working with my past clients. I'm about, until the last 2 years, I'm about 25% refi every year to purchase. So I really try to follow up quarterly with my past clients. I call them throughout the year, but then I do big mass follow ups too quarterly. Friday, I do pre approvals going into the weekend. I call my pre approvals. So that's my every day for me from 10 to noon is who I'm calling. I have a list already worked up, get through as many calls as I can. Some days the calls go great. I only go through like 20 because I'm talking to people for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But there's days where I leave voicemails and I might reach out to 60 people. But when I'm looking at it, okay, say it's just 20 people. Say I talk to 20 people a day. Well, still after 5 days, it's 200 a week. Break it out over 52 weeks. I'm talking to a ton of people, and it's organized, planned, thought out. I know who I'm reaching out to. Um, After I do my prospecting, because I look at it like for me, if you look at my calendar for the time block, green is a money activity, red's a meeting. Red, I'm making no money. Green, I'm making money. So I try to do the green task first, and then I get into working on my files, making sure everything's nice and smooth. I try to do that like right after lunch. So about 12 to 2, I'm working on files, doing some pre-approvals, checking with my team. After 2 o'clock, I try to give myself some personal time. So I usually hit the gym. That's kind of a nice thing for me. If I don't have that physical workout release, whether it's gym, jujitsu, whatever it is, I need that to keep me sane and keep my brain good. And what I've noticed is if I haven't talked to a client by 3 o'clock, it means they're at work and can't talk till after. So that like 3 to 5 window is what I can do for me to kind of recharge. And then I typically take calls for clients from 5 until whenever they're done.
Hmm.
My agents and my clients know that I'm accessible 24/7. I know that's not for everybody, but that's a big part of building my business. And I've had agents not believe me when I say I'm 24/7 until they call me at 11 o'clock at night and I answer on the second ring.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to do that to where some days I'm busy as hell until 11 p.m. But some days I might not have that as many calls in the evening. But that 5 until whenever is kind of some callback times. And I've noticed this works for me. I've drilled down this schedule for the last 11 years. I know it works. I know the numbers it gives me. If my closings aren't quite getting there, I know it's from something I did in my day. Maybe I didn't field enough calls for that 10 to noon time, but I do it every single day. My day is the same thing every single time.
I think the few takeaways there. One, structure, and I would encourage anybody that does listen to this that's kind of enamored by that to reach out to you and have you share your calendar with them, because I have found that with a lot. I've interviewed hundreds, maybe it's up into the thousands now of professionals in our industry, and one of the successful traits I find very consistent is keeping a schedule, and being very, very dialed into that. So I applaud you for that. I will mention, that what you said about video, that's different. Like, that's not something that people have quite evolved to yet, but I'm going to just call that out. I mean, everybody knows I'm pimping it, but listen, you're going to start hearing this from more and more successful people. They build that into the cadence of their day. They don't let social media control their day, but they take the time to create because they realize it's a marketing tool. And shout out, go follow Matt, Matthew.a.shields on Instagram, or Matt Shields on Facebook, and go check out what he's doing, because what he's doing is next level. And it's what's keeping him top of mind. It's creating more opportunities with real estate agents. So, dude, phenomenal stuff, dude. Thank you for sharing, which leads me into the next question, which is, I already know that the vast majority of your business, like many LOs nowadays, is real estate driven business. You even mentioned it yourself. Last few years have been 5 refis a year when it used to be 50 refis a year. So that clearly is the driver and what creates a sustainable business, because when refis are down, you're not necessarily, you're down relatively speaking, but you're still doing very, very well. And so what would you say is what creates the stickiness, or why a real estate agent wants to work with you, why a real estate agent finds you, why a real estate agent stays with you?
Yeah. Also, the biggest thing is being a real person, being authentic and valuing the relationship with them. If you just want them for business, I think they can smell it 10 feet away. They know it. There's 2 big agents I got this year. One is taking me 6 years to earn her business. The other's taking me 10 years.
Wow.
And that's from just really looking at the relationship side of things and just checking in with them. Not for business. Hey, hope your family's doing great. Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Just little things, that constant check in and actually treating them like somebody and showing them that, yeah, you don't have to send me business, but for 6 years or 10 years, I'm still going to be checking in with you and seeing how you're doing. Goes a long way. And that helped me with 2 of the bigger agents I have right now, because last year when the market got tough, I lost 3 of my top 5 agents. The relationship wasn't going well. They wanted a big Zillow spend without putting the work in or really having a true business. So kind of having that relationship aspect and constantly doing what I say I'm going to do. When I first meet them, hey, you might not send me business right away, but you're going to hear from me once a month until you do. And kind of just sticking to it, treating them like a real person, having a relationship, and just doing what I say I'm going to do. That's always what's helped me.
Yeah. And you mentioned it previously too, that accessibility. Dude, that was a big calling card for me when I was an originator. And I know some people are very much against that because you want to manage and control your time. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not already a top producer, you better make yourself accessible. And I think, Matt, you can attest to this. Like I used to the same thing. I'd go into real estate offices and be like, accessibility is my calling card. I'm available to you at 3 o'clock on Sunday or 11 p.m. on Tuesday. Try me. Like I would challenge people, and then those assholes would actually do it. But
Yeah.
but when you answer the bell, like they're like, oh damn, you weren't kidding. And then what I found would happen as my success grew, I then would start controlling my time. And when they were calling me at 7 o'clock and I'm having dinner with my family, I'd text them and be like, hey, I'm having dinner with my family. I would lie sometimes. I'm sitting on the couch doing nothing. I just don't feel like taking your call. Hey, I'm having dinner with my family. I'm at my kid's sports game. Can I call you back? And you know what they would always reply almost every time? No worries. It's not a rush. You can call me tomorrow. But I earned it by answering the calls. Then once I earned it, I started to do that. And what would you say to that loan officer who says, no way, I work from 9 to 5 and I'm gonna be family time and I shut off my phone after 5 o'clock. What do you say to that loan officer who feels that way?
Most business happens after 5. People work. People get off work at 5. They can't talk until 5. And I hate to say it, but if you want to be a 9 to 5 loan officer, go work at a bank. Really, because to be a top LO, to work at a company like ours that compensates us very well, you have to do what the other people aren't willing to do. There's so many days I wake up on a Saturday and I have calls and texts from an agent at 7:30 a.m. who, this is urgent. I need you to call me right away. Do I enjoy that? Absolutely not. But it's something I signed up for. It's my job. I committed to this. I committed to it 11 years ago when I got in the business and had a conversation with my family. This is how my life is now. And I've just kind of stuck to it. But if you're not willing to take calls outside of those hours, that's on you.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. Like when people need you to be available, you got to be. In real estate, that's nights and weekends.
Yeah.
And that helps me. Like those days I leave here at 3 o'clock to go to the gym. I can do that because I'm taking calls into the evening.
Yeah.
So for me, it is annoying sometimes and it is a nuisance. But once you start to do it and you get into a flow of it, it just becomes everyday life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I bring that up just because it is validating, and an LO who might be struggling with their business and isn't willing to do that. I hate to tell you this, but you're basically accepting a mediocre career. I'm sorry, but that's just the reality. The best of the best do more than what you might be willing to do, and so you either accept it, which there's nothing wrong with that. If you're okay with that, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want more, you're going to have to do more. You're going to have to be willing to do more. You're going to have to, frankly, and Matt, you know this, coach your spouse, coach your children. Like there is a level of sacrifice that comes with success. If you don't want to sacrifice that, then you are sacrificing success. Either way, there's a sacrifice. You decide
Amen.
which sacrifice you want to make.
Amen. And
Love
I
it.
would sacrifice late night calls and early morning calls to be able to, I was talking to you earlier, as my dad got sick, luckily this job and making this money that we do doing this job helped pay for that. It helped pay for family things. And I would much rather sacrifice some hours of my day to be able to make the money I want to have the lifestyle I want to have less stress because I don't have to worry about a kid needing braces or me having to fix my car or if someone gets terminally ill. Like for me, the sacrifice is, yeah, I'm taking some random calls at night to have all of the stuff that I want.
Yeah, love it. What would you say is the biggest differentiator? You've pretty much answered it in a roundabout way, but what do you think is the biggest differentiator? Not only, and I want a two-part answer here,
Yeah.
as a loan officer, as an originator, but also as a leader.
So I'd say this to my clients. I will treat their loan like it's my mom's loan. And I truly mean that. And I do it. I lose sleep at night over deals. I take deals personally. It's like if you trust me with this, I will treat this like you're my mom. Everything is going to be perfect. If there is some bad news, you're going to hear from me immediately with a solution. But it's just given the and for me, like comparing someone to my mom, that's like the ultimate thing for me. You know what I mean? Because she's going to get number one service no matter what. But I like to make my clients feel that way. I
Mhm.
want them to feel I want them to feel like how special they are to me. And that's why I do so many past client refinances. That's why they call me for, hey, my sister's buying this and that. It's because I make them feel special and I make them feel cared about, and I treat them like I would my mom.
Awesome. What about as a leader?
As a leader, and I've had a team now for a little while. I've had people come and go, and it's respecting them, trusting them. Same thing, doing what you say you're going to do. Really, kind of like same with the sales, doing what I say I'm going to do, but just being their biggest cheerleader. There's times when they'll do something wrong. You got to correct them, let them know what they did wrong, but celebrate someone's success with them, especially in our job, because people don't get what we go through. They don't know the stress we have unless they're in it. So their family and friends might not relate to that success, and they might not relate to being excited for them. And for me, it's whether I'm locking 4 deals today or someone on my team is. Like, as we were talking, Elizabeth locked 4 deals today, and I got the message pop up. Like, I'm so excited for her, and just sharing the wins and the losses together. And my leading style is more of, I'm in the trenches with you. I'm not barking orders at you. I'm not going to tell you to do anything I wouldn't do. And I look at it as, we're in that foxhole together. Everything we do, we're doing together.
Yeah. Love that. And I will have you expand on that real quick. You mentioned Elizabeth, and she was started in an operational role. She was working on your team, and then she's broken off. And this is a testimony for you, man. I mean, like, that is what is possible. So give her a quick story.
Yeah. So she was in the banking industry before coming to USA, never as a loan officer. She came to USA and she was my LP1 for 2 years, and she wanted more.
Which is LP1 is a loan processor.
Yeah, sorry, loan processor one. So for us in our region, that LP1, they're the processor who's client facing. So she helped me with all my files. She helped me get my deals wrapped up. We've got a great working relationship, and she was like, I really want to I want to do more. So she got licensed March of 22. It was, yeah, March of 22. So she's been licensed now just over 2 years, and she's going to make President's Club this year.
Wow.
She hit her first $3 million month recently. She's doing so good. So excited for her, so happy for her. And it's just awesome to see somebody truly listen to what I'm saying and being receptive to it, and then taking it and doing it better than me. Like, I'm just saying, like, I know I'm a top 10 right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the top 10. Give her a couple years.
It's fantastic. And you might as well go ahead and just set the ball on the tee for me, because I'm going to have to do a loan officer spotlight of her at some point. So
Absolutely.
you let her know.
I will.
Awesome. Last question. What do you find most rewarding about this career?
Truly, it sounds so cheesy, but truly helping people. Growing up, I saw that not everybody owned a house. Most people I knew when I was younger rented. And I feel like everybody who is willing to take on the task of being a homeowner, they they deserve it. People deserve a place to live. They deserve to give generational wealth to the next kids. So for me, it's just truly seeing somebody who wants that house. Doesn't matter the price of the house. I work just as hard for the $1 million buyer as I do the 30K buyer. I don't care. But to see their faces, and they'll bring their kids into my office, and you see how excited they are for the house. Like, that is everything for me. Everyone should have a home. They should have a place they feel safe, and it's just so rewarding that who am I to be a part of their biggest experience in their life? In a place they call home. So I'm so excited that, like, I get to be that guy, especially on the tough deals that people turn down. That, it could be a hairy deal. Someone doesn't want to deal with it or give them time of day at all. Let me do that. Let me take that deal. Let's figure it out. Let's get them home. I love that.
Love that. Coming from a top producer who doesn't poo-poo the challenging deal. I love it, man. That is one of the definitions of success in our business, in my opinion. Kudos to you for that. So what is the best way to connect with you, man? If somebody wants to, they're like, dude, you're an inspiration. We need to talk. What is the best way to connect with you? I already mentioned your socials. You can mention it again, but how else can they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So socials, that's an easy way to get a hold of me. Teams me, email me, call me. My information's out there. I love talking shop with anybody. So if anyone ever wants to reach out, please do. Would love to help any way I can. I'd love to learn some stuff from you that I might not be doing. So for me, I love to make friends. I love to make connections. That's what life's about, is who we know and how we take care of each other. So I'm open book, whoever wants it.
And if you're ever in the Columbus area, he'll take you out to a nice dinner, and you'll have some good dinner and some good drinks. And maybe if it's football season, you might even get to go tailgate at an Ohio State game.
Amen to that. Amen to that, man. Amen to that.
I love it, brother. Thanks for sharing with us today, and I look forward to continuing to watch your success, man.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for your time.